Greetings, everybody. Welcome to another Good e-Reader video review. My name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Today we have the second generation Barnes & Noble Simple Touch with Glowlight. This is running Android 2.1. It's a 6-inch e-reader. Here's the box. Actually looks fairly nice. I must say that this is probably their best e-reader box that they ever released. 1024 by 758 is the resolution. 800 megahertz processor. 256 MB of RAM. On paper you have 4 gigs of storage, but when we take it out of the box for the first time, that's not the case.
No, you actually only get 2.25, but that's usable, and you actually only get 1.9 after a couple other updates run.
And if you like to sideload in your own books, PDFs, EPUBs, things like that, you only have around 500 MB of space reserved for side-loaded content, so use your space wisely. The one thing about this is that it doesn't have an SD card.
There's no way to avoid the limited storage. So we'll just look at the hardware real quick. They've gone the whole bar of soap route that they went with the Nook HD. You have a power button and the status indicator light with USB. Pretty simple. We'll add that there's a rubber kind of trim. Comes off very easily. Don't take this off because it actually exposes a lot of the computer parts down here, especially the light. The back has a nice rubber feel with the embossed end. And we have an accessory here we'd like to show you that Barnes & Noble offers. It is a cover. It folds kind of like one of those iPad covers. There's no guidelines as to where you can put it. You can put it on the left or the right, but you have to line it up or else it might not close properly. As you can see, there's a little bit of space there. It doesn't sleep the device like the Sonys do. Doesn't sit really well. It kind of gets bent very easily. It's hinged really loosely too, so it slides around a lot. And it's not really microfiber, so it's not really the most comfortable of materials, and it's quite thin and quite expensive.
This is the main home screen menu here. Shows you things that you have read recently, as well as Nook titles that are available for purchase. Let's check out some of the settings here.
So we'll click on My Library. You get a gridded view of your books. You can also click on the lists. You can go into list mode, but you lose a lot of thumbnails. You can sort by different things like what you have for your files. You can check out things you have on the newsstand, magazines, newspapers, etc. You also have some sorting options here by title or author to give you a little bit more organization.
Prior Nooks had a lot of settings in the UI, and this seems to have done away with it pretty well. If we look at previous Nook model here, you can see how they've really gone the minimalist route. You can see a lot of options there, whereas this one only has 3. My Library, Shop, and Search. Search is fairly self-explanatory. You can search your device for a particular author, a particular book, but if you actually type in a book name in the search field, it'll actually take you to the Nook Store and that particular entry.
This is running Android, so you do have this kind of similar feel to cell phones and tablets. You drop down the top, gives you a little bit of info. You can also click all settings. This is where we're not going to go through everything, but you can see where you change your wireless info, glow light information, and a lot of other things.
Probably the most important option here is social, where you could connect up your Facebook, Twitter, and Google account. So when you're sharing notes or sharing quotes and passages, you can let all your friends know exactly what you're reading and all those semantics. Also here is where you control the luminosity of the glow light. And I must say that the glow light is really refined in this model. I'd probably say it's about 75% better than the original Nook Simple Touch with Glowlight. It was really blue. This one has a bit of a blue tinge to it, but I feel that it more evenly distributes the light, and it's a better reading experience. Once you configure the light settings to your standards, you could hold down on the end button to turn it on or off. You generally have to hold it down for a few seconds. If you want to see how it looks at night, you can stay tuned to our YouTube channel where we'll do a comprehensive nighttime reading test. Let's check out the ebook experience.
So this is a book purchased and downloaded from Barnes & Noble. So you have easy page turns.
Yeah, and you're not getting the full page refreshes. It's seamlessly turning pages.
We noticed a positive and negative thing with this. This is prone to a lot of ghosting, so as you turn pages, because it doesn't refresh rarely or at all, you do get a little bit of ghosting here and there, but it seems to be cooperating right now. If you long press, you get things like highlights, notes, and I'm going to point out something we all saw here in the studio after Mike pointed it out to us. The period is actually below the question mark. It is not a separate, it's not just a question mark, so they actually have a period kind of hidden there. We didn't see it at first, but that's where it is, so make note of that. We also, no pun intended, huh? Didn't see that coming. If you go to share, after you go and set up your Facebook and Twitter, you can share your favorite posts or whatever, and you'll get the little, it'll look like this. So if you click on that, and we go hi, it'll actually show up on your wall. And we have this connected to Wi-Fi, so it gets posted pretty quickly. If you click the middle, you have a couple options here. You can change text. It's kind of the conventional Nook experience here, line spacing, margins.
And it's changing dynamically, which was what I always like. But it seems as though that there's really not a lot of text that's visible when you're actually augmenting text in a text menu. There's only the top 3 lines, basically.
Right, exactly. Notes and highlights, and then you can look up in a dictionary, but the dictionary is pretty bare bones. You're not going to get the Google Wikipedia experience you get on a lot of other devices. It's just basic dictionary.
Okay, cool. So we also can show you a number of other things that we have here. We have some magazines and newspapers available.
So we're going to open up a Forbes magazine, and we're going to go to the cover. So as you see, you have the cover image, and then you go into it, and we're going to adjust the text here because it's a little large. There we go. So then it just kind of goes into a broken down e-reader friendly version, because this was purchased from Barnes & Noble, so there's not going to be a lot of, car ads and all that kind of stuff. It's just going to be really bare bones. Little picture here and there to show you what they're, or who they're talking about, but then it's just kind of the e-reading experience from there on. You get most of the same settings as well, even within this.
Okay, we actually have a Rolling Stone magazine as well. Is it still the same experience as
We're going to go to our library.
Forbes.
And search through all this stuff. Click on the Rolling Stone magazine. Good old Daniel Craig. And if you see on a lot of our other e-reader and tablet reviews, with the Rolling Stone magazine we have downloaded on the Kobos and so forth, you can actually see full page images. Once again, this is more of a stripped away version of the magazine in a very e-reader friendly fashion.
Right, so in the end, most magazines that you'll purchase are not image heavy. It's the full sort of ebook experience, so you can change the size of the text on the fly and everything like that. How are we doing with PDFs?
So we've opened the Monster Manual on the Nook here, and it actually performs quite quickly compared to a lot of other devices.
Yeah, considering this is about 150 MB file too.
Right, and this actually has half the amount of RAM that the Kindle Paperwhite had, and this is having no issues with it whatsoever. We've noticed a few things though. You can't actually double tap to zoom in, just opens the settings, nor can you pinch and zoom.
And that's because this is running an IR display, so it's not capacitive touch.
Right.
So that's why veritably anything on this e-reader you cannot pinch and zoom.
Right, so you have a couple options here. If you're on setting 1 or 2, you get the full page. If you go any higher, you get into reflow modes. So it'll actually strip away a lot of the images and a lot of the headers and so forth, and you can read it just like this, but it's almost impossible to know where you are. Actually, it is impossible to know where you are located on the page. Each time you want to locate yourself, you'd have to go text and then back to 1 or 2. And the lookup setting is going to change based on whether you're in the reflow mode or full page mode, because full page displays a lot more text, so there's only 288 pages. If you go into reflow mode, an entire page could be one little paragraph. You could have almost triple the amount of pages, so it's not going to be consistent.
And of course you actually can't take notes or make highlights or anything
There's
like
no
that
long
either.
press or anything.
Okay, so we found a lot of software bugs in this e-reader, and a lot of them, some of them are breaking it and some aren't. So let's right-click or click in the middle here, and if you were to click more, you'd figure that you would have like more advanced settings, and that's what more usually is. But more actually leads you to the store, and once we're in a store, if you actually click on a book,
it actually doesn't let you click on any books. However, the screen is still functional because I can toggle between gridded and list mode, but you actually can't open any content on their store at all. So not only does it send you here to something completely unrelated to the book you were reading, you can't open anything, but you can still function with the store itself.
Now, there's another bug that we discovered while typing. So if we go to the settings menu,
it's kind of hard to grab it sometimes because it's tucked away in the corner. There we go. All settings. Social.
right?
And we wanted to actually link our Twitter account. So we went to link your Twitter account. And we scrolled down to type in our username and password. Once we clicked on it, not only does it block you, you can see how buggy it is already.
That, yeah, you're typing things in the field, but nothing's actually appearing there.
And it's actually cutting me off and closing the page every time I do it. So I type a J, it highlights, and then it just cancels out.
So, in effect, it is writing J's there, but you don't actually see any, like, characters appear or any... You know, when you type in passwords, maybe it's starred out,
right,
or there's some sort of symbols there letting you know how many characters that you've entered. Now, Barnes & Noble has a Lend Me program where select titles are set by the publisher or by the indie author to allow you to share these books with your friends. So we want to actually check out the Lend Me titles in a shop. You click here and you go to the homepage of the shop yet again. So it seems as though that almost all things that you type, you know, are all roads lead to the store.
Right.
Okay, so in the end, I think that this is a good second attempt at a Glowlight e-reader. I feel that Barnes & Noble really enhanced the overall Glowlight experience, where you don't get the pure white that you see on the Amazon Kindle Paperwhite 2 and the Kobo Aura, but I think that this is probably a distant third in comparison to those other e-readers on the market. I dig it. There are a lot of software bugs, but all in all, Barnes & Noble has a pretty expansive ecosystem. There's a lot of content to purchase. I just wish that we were able to purchase some stuff on here. So let's hear your thoughts. You've heard ours. Drop a comment on his YouTube video, and if you have any ideas for future videos, kindly let us know. And for GoodEReader.com and a review of the second generation Barnes & Noble Simple Touch with Glowlight, my name is Michael.
This is Peter.
Everybody